What's going on, Rebel family? I wanted to tap in with the family, give you guys a channel update. Since I don't have a community tab, I figured this would be the best way, the easiest way to, give the family an update on what's going on with the channel and why I haven't been producing content for a while. And just to say that C19 has landed at our doorstep, and it is altering. It changes up the whole family dynamic. It throws everything off, trying to keep the family safe and make sure that those who have been affected by those, different versions, I'll say versions for the algorithm, but the different C19 versions that uh, we are experiencing, to try to keep the family safe. It has been a bit of a task. And I just tell you about this whole experience with with this and the situation that was happening. So it actually um hit my son. He's, sophomore in high school, and so you know, taking him to the emergency room because he kind of had a situation to where you know he he pretty much was not drinking all day, just kind of no appetite or whatever, didn't eat or drink pretty much all day, and was in the shower, and I think just had a real hot shower, and I guess it just kind of made him dehydrate. But the steam was thick in the shower, and he kind of passed out or what have you, after getting out of the shower, and it was like just trying to figure out what's going on. You know, his mother, my wife, is a medical professional. She was a surgical nurse for many years, and until she we got married or what have you, and decided it was better to stay home with the kids or whatever. So she's a medical professional, and just kind of looking at his blood pressure. Blood pressure was low. So figure, okay, we better go ahead and take him into the emergency room to um, figure out what's going on with him. And so go to the emergency room, and they only would let one parent in, so they let her in. She's a mom, she's a medical professional. Was all right, fine. So she tells me what happened. They had to wind up giving him an IV, but they ran two tests on him. And this was weird. I thought this was real weird. They ran two tests on him, and the first test they did a swab of his right nostril, and then they did a swab of both nostrils. And then she was told that the first test, the test swabbing only the right nostril, was the C19 test. And then the second test, the swab on both nostrils, was the test for the flu. Sounds weird. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. I've never been tested for the flu like that. But it doesn't make any sense to say, um, you test for both nostrils for the flu, but only one nostril for C19, and it's weird. So you know, he never lost his sense of taste, sense of smell. He never lost those, and he had ups and down days or whatever. To me, it seemed to be more like the flu as opposed to or flu or cold as opposed to C19. Um, but again, um, it threw the family off, right? Here's a thing of he felt down in the sense that he got something, he doesn't want to give it to the family, so he's kind of moping. So with that going on, and then he's emotionally down because now it's a thing of he feels responsible. And then there's other children in the house, to where they were kind of afraid and kind of standoffish or what have you, even though that's their brother. But it's, they care about their brother, but then also being a little afraid of what this means or what have you. um you know and then you know i I don't necessarily feel like it I was affected with it or what have you. I felt down, and I think this is more so from a lack of sleep, than anything, that as opposed to uh me actually having something. I just just up kind of, every seemed like every hour, checking on him or what have you. So, but then, I felt down or what have you, and it brought up something in me that reminded me of of a particular hadith of the Prophet Muhammad that um talks about whenever there is a plague in the land. And I remember when C-19 first hit, back when I first heard of it, back in, it was almost the end of 2019. um a friend, well, not necessarily a friend but a colleague, he talked about how he had colleagues over in that particular city in China who got stuck. So, and this was actually, it was November, around, right after Thanksgiving or what have you. uh he was talking about that particular portion of China, and how they had this pandemic going on over there, and so forth and so on, and it hadn't reached the United States at that point. And um then I start seeing, seeing news reports, and I remember people trying to leave China, and it always reminded me of these particular hadith. It says, when you heard about a plague in any land, then do not enter it. Then it says, another says, and if a plague outbreaks in your land, then do not leave your land. And the obvious reason behind, if something breaks out in your particular area, you're not supposed to leave. Why? Because you're going to take that disease or plague or whatever with you. So if it breaks out in China, you just have to ride it out, because whatever is written for you is written for you. So if you're written to, you know, pass away from that particular plague, you're going to pass away, whether you stay there in China or if you leave and you go, come over to America. So I remember seeing that, and I was like, yeah, this thing is going to spread with people. Okay, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna try to outrun the thing. You have to stay there. I saw a lot of expats, um, you know, a lot of American expats who were living in China. And I thought then, I'm like, hey, you have to ride that out, because if you leave, this thing is going to spread all over the place. And, obviously the rest is history. And of course, if people had followed these pretty simple hadith here, these plagues and pandemics wouldn't traverse like they did. But, you know, in this particular case, so then now, obviously, as a family, we've been, uh, and this is another odd thing that I saw. So as a family, we've been, just here amongst ourselves, right? Can't go see other extended family or friends or whatever, because, though I don't trust the government, I trust it enough not to trust what they're saying, so I'm cautious anyway, right? So though that test seemed funny, I was like, it don't really seem like that makes sense. You test one nostril for one thing and test both nostrils for another thing, and then you determine, oh, it's this. And we know early on in 2020 that a lot of the numbers were inflated and skewed. Anything that looked like that particular C19, any symptoms that look like that, then that's what you have. So anyway, so I trust the government enough to not trust them, right? So I'm always have been cautious since this thing started. So let's just be cautious, no matter what, no matter what they're saying. We're just going to be cautious or whatever, right? On all fronts. So it is weird to me how when this thing first started, the quarantine period was 14 days. And then I remember when the quarantine period went to 10 days. So I'm thinking, all right, well, you know, kid's going to be out of school for 10 days. My son's going to be out for 10 days, and, a couple college age kids, so they're going to all be out of school for, 10 days or whatever. So looked at the paperwork, the discharge paperwork. Why did it say 5 days? Now, just the red flags go up and they immediately go off in my head. I'm like, wait a minute. So you're telling me that and again, I'll say versions as opposed to the other V word, but you have versions out here that are more transmissible, that um, are more transmissible and quote unquote deadlier than the original version. The original version, hey, 14 days. You quarantine for 14 days. Okay. So as we gain more and more versions, and the versions are more transmissible and highly contagious, you have to quarantine for less time. I mean, make it make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. So, I don't know, whatever. You know, we'll, they'll go back to school whenever, and if he goes back to school at all, because it might be back time to finish out his high school homeschooling again. Okay, but anyway, we'll figure that out. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with the family and why I hadn't been making content. The last video that I made, it had just happened right as I had finished recording that video, and then all of the stuff broke loose and had trip to the ER, and then it's okay. All right, well, you got to quarantine and all this kind of stuff, and then it's just trying to reassure everybody in the house, make sure everybody in the house is good, and just so it's been a little minute, but it gave me a chance to catch up on watching other YouTube content. I've had it because typically when I was making videos, I didn't have time to watch other people's content. And then too, I didn't want to be influenced on particular topics, but that I wanted to cover. I didn't want to. I want to make the videos fresh with my own outlook. So I will get around to reviewing some of those videos and get back to really producing content again, and you know just getting back into the swing of things, and get back at it. But I just wanted to update the family and just thank the family for all of you who have subscribed, all of you who watch the videos. We're closing in on the 100,000 view mark. I think we're at 90 something, 92,000, something like that. So I appreciate the family for, you know, viewing the videos, rocking with the channel, subscribing to the channel. And again, um, we are on the other side of this thing. So I will get back to producing content very soon. And again, just want to thank you guys and shout out. It's with your support that the channel has grown the way it has grown. So I do appreciate the family for rocking with me, and supporting the channel and watching the videos. Thanks again, Rebel family. Peace.